My name's Rob Hughes. The company was Wesco Ltd. We started out in 1988 as Wesco Trading Company Limited, importing novelty clocks and licensed character watches from US companies. We went on to develop our own ranges over the following 27, 28 years, and got to a point, my wife and I decided that we'd like to do more with our time, and we thought, well, if we don't do it now, we might never do it. And we didn't want to find ourselves 10 or 15 years on not being able to sell the business and kind of being stuck with it. So we took a very tough decision, but I think it was the right one at the time. The system that Kingsbrook use was quite eye-opening, actually, because it was intensely detailed, much more than I thought it would be. And they worked on a sort of a pyramid structure, really, where I can't remember how many thousands of companies were identified globally, but it was a lot. And that was narrowed down very quickly, obviously, to a few hundred, and then a few tens, a few dozen. And then we started talking to people through Kingsbrook, of course. So yeah, I was impressed initially at how many potential suitors were out there and the systems that Kingsbrook had in place for identifying those companies. It was very impressive. That's a good question. Do you know what? I don't actually have any regrets about any part of the process. I know that might sound a bit like a cop-out. I think that the hardest thing was telling our staff that we were selling the business, because we were required by our solicitors for legal reasons of which I wasn't really cognizant at the time, to say nothing to our staff. We had a couple of senior staff members who I would have liked to confide in during the selling process, and I didn't. So it came as a complete bombshell to everybody. And I suppose if I have one regret, if regret's the right word, I would have liked to have been able to handle that better. Looking back, I don't know how I could have handled it better. Banking the check, but to be honest with you, once the terms have been agreed and you're pretty confident, sort of 90% plus confident that the deal is going ahead, the money becomes secondary, really. Because for me personally, less so for Kat, my wife, because she was although she was a director, she was part-time. For me personally, it was relieving the pressure of running a business day to day and all that entails. But I suppose just the pressure of dealing with the bank, with the tax man, with paying royalties to the likes of Walt Disney Company, and being an employer, employing staff. When people who have never run a business look at you, and you might be driving a nice car, you might live in a nice house, and they think, oh, isn't he lucky? What they don't see is the stress that you endure on a daily basis simply by employing people. It's a really hard thing to do. And, anybody who starts a business needs to think very carefully about why they're doing it and how they're going to employ people, and make sure those people are happy and well paid and loyal and all those other things. It's a tough job. Well, I'm 62 now. I've been retired effectively for 5 years, but I wanted to, another cliche, give back something to the village we've lived in for 21 years. And so I joined the parish council 4 years ago. I've been chairman of the council for the last 2 years. I've taken on the chair of another organisation that coordinates activities with 7 other parish councils in the area, and I've just taken over the chair of a small charity. And I enjoy that immensely, mainly because there are deadlines involved. So if I have to do something, I can't continually put it off, which otherwise I'd be able to. And it keeps the grey matter going. I also, for 30 years been a season ticket holder at Manchester United. Sadly, we can't go to the ground anymore, but that's still my passion, and I play a lot more golf than I used to. Sadly, I'm no better at it than I was, but at least I've got time to practice. So yeah, we've had some fantastic holidays, Kath and I. Kath has got her own passion. I'm so proud of her because she 8 years ago she joined Samaritans. She wanted to do something worthwhile, and for the last few years she's been a deputy director in the Macclesfield branch. Shortly after we sold the business, she decided to pursue something that she'd always dreamt of doing, which was to write a novel. She'd always had this dream of becoming a published novelist. She's an avid reader of fiction, and in a nutshell, she self-published initially on Kindle only in the Amazon on the Amazon platform, and over a 9-month period from selling a couple of dozen a week, she ended up at #1, knocking Gone Girl off the #1 spot. And she's since written 4 other novels. The latest one is due to come out in the spring of 2021. So she's done phenomenally well, phenomenally well. And selling the business allowed us to do all those things. You know, that's. Oh, without question, yes. To be honest, David, I wouldn't have done this interview had I not been willing to recommend them. We were very, very well looked after throughout the whole selling process. The way that Kingsbrook operates in terms of protecting the business owners along the way, from keeping everything under wraps so that nothing leaks out to any part of the industry we operated in, that was very impressive, because not only did it come as a complete surprise to our staff that we were selling, it came as a complete surprise to all of my acquaintances in the industry as well. It was watertight, and we were kept, you know, in the loop and informed at every stage. Yeah, it was a fairly seamless process, actually. You could tell that the guys had done this many times before, and they knew what they were doing. So we felt we were in good hands.